You know what's really interesting and quite frankly maddening to me is that we spend 12 to 16 years of our life in school, and we're not really taught the things that we need to cope with in life once we get out there into the real world. School does a pretty decent job of teaching us math and science, spelling, reading, but the skills that you need when you really get out there into the world just aren't there many times, I know from my own experience. So today I'd like to point out 9 things that I believe that school doesn't teach you, even after all those years of being in school. So number 1 would be how to handle failure. In school, failure, you take a test, and let's say there's 10 questions and you get 3 red check marks, then you're labeled a failure. Oh, I missed that. But failure is just simply part of the experience of life. You keep learning. You learn from that failure. But in school, you're kind of, it's like an uptight thing. Oh my gosh, I failed. I'm terrible. I'm horrible. I didn't get straight A's or whatever. So, the failure needs to be embraced and learned from, not run from. And I think that, we throw our hands up a lot of times and quit when we fail at something, whether it's learning some kind of new skill or sport or what have you. But just know that failure is part of the experience, and that's one of the things that I think school just doesn't really make clear to you. I know I've had plenty of failures in my life with all kinds of different things. And, there's been some that I have run from, but that really wasn't the answer. So number 2 would be, how money actually works. And boy, I really wish I would have understood this earlier, instead of just bleeding away a bunch of money over my lifetime. Yeah, you may learn a little bit about checkbook writing and that type of thing when you're in school, but you're not really taught about how money works, the investing, the saving, all of those things you're not really taught to any degree that will help you when you get out into the world. I had to learn a lot of things the hard way through hard knocks. I made terrible mistakes with money, including, going to those places where you get fast cash, and then you pay it back on, with your next paycheck, and then you got to borrow again, and you get in this endless cycle. Thankfully, I got out of that. But there's a good chance I wouldn't have got into that if I'd have known better. But I was really young and stupid. So number 3 would be how to communicate under pressure. This is another one where I still have to work on it, because, let's say you get into some kind of debate or conversation with someone and there's a disagreement. How do you deal with that? Do you stay calm, or do you aggravate the situation, or do you run from the situation? I know that with myself, a lot of times with my personality type, or whatever you want to call it, I kind of run away from that. I clam up. And then other people escalate the situation and make it worse than it already was. I get the shaky voice, the shaky hands, my voice cracks, and then I shut down. So the way to really communicate with people is to try and keep yourself calm, keep yourself thinking. Don't take things so personally. I know I've done that in the past. If somebody disagreed with me on something, I took it very personally. But the thing to do is to realize that they have their own opinion as well. So I think that really does open up the door to communicating. It has for me. Number 4 would be how to think, not just what to think. Now, I personally believe that in college, this gets even worse than like in school, high school, where you're told what to think, but not how to think. You know, what kind of reasoning do you use? Do you research? Do you not just take what the professor or the teacher says at face value and not look into it, not ask questions? I think question asking is very important, and I think way too many of us fall into the trap of, we're told what to think, and we just simply accept it at face value because the professor said it or the teacher said it. But think for yourself, look into things, study if you need to, whatever the subject or topic may be. Number 5 would be how to keep learning after school. I know I've had to do this. I'm 67, I'll be 68 in August, and I was not raised in the computer age, so I had to start learning how to use a computer. I do Amazon KDP books now, word search books. I had to learn new skills with that. I had to learn new skills with what I'm doing here with this channel, with how to upload videos and all of that. And, a lot of people, we stop reading after we get out of school. We think that the learning process is over, but it's not. And it's one of the reasons that I named this channel what I did, Old, Retired, but Still Learning, because I think it's just so important to learn new things all the time, no matter your age. If you just graduated from high school, keep learning, a trade or something like that, a new language, whatever it might be. Just keep learning. Number 6 would be how to deal with people you don't like. This one I know can be very difficult because we're surrounded by people who are different than us, and we may not like their opinions or what they do or what they say or think. But instead of avoiding them or maybe engaging in a bad manner, the thing to do is to take a step back. At least this is what I do. Take a step back and realize that people are different than you are, and they're going to have opinions and thoughts that are different than yours. And there's just simply going to be people in life, whether we like it or not, that we don't like and don't like us. We are commanded to love everyone. And I believe that and do that firmly, but that doesn't mean that you have to like everyone. Everybody's not going to have the kind of personality that you want to get close to and, go become friends with. And sometimes it's even family members, but you have to learn how to be patient and not avoid, if it's a family member, there's a lot of times where you can't avoid them, whether it's a holiday or a birthday, something like that. But the thing to do is to stay calm and to just simply know that there are situations where you're not going to like somebody and they're not going to like you. So the best thing you can do is be patient and deal with it in the moment. Doesn't mean, again, you have to pal around with them. Number 7 would be how to sit with discomfort. And what I mean by that is, there's going to be situations in our lives where we're not comfortable. We don't like it. We hate discomfort. We hate pain. Understandably, we're human beings. We get a pain. We don't like it. We want it to go away. We're uncomfortable with something, a situation, or a person. But we want to eliminate it, but that's not always possible. And a lot of times it's better to just simply sit with the situation, realize that it's here, and patience really is a virtue in these types of situations. So be patient. And eventually, breakthroughs usually come. But even if they don't, just take comfort in knowing that you're okay and this too shall pass. It's all right. So number 8 would be making decisions that you can live with. Don't overthink or react to something. Think first. I know years ago, I actually used to see a counselor, and he would give you a test, and on that test, it would say whether you were basically a thinker or a reactor. And I was, at that time, I think I'm much better at it now, a reactor, and then I thought. And then I would react, take action, then I'd think about it. Instead, it needs to be think, react, take action. So I think there's a lot of people who are on the opposite of that, where they overthink. They're overthinking the situation. And then, there's the people like me, like I said, that would just rush in. So don't get caught in either one of those. Just take your time and think first, then react, then take action. But don't overthink and don't just react. Number 9 would be how to start over at any age. And I think, I might be living proof of that. I'm starting over with not only this YouTube channel, but my Amazon KDP. And it's not too late to learn. It's not too late to grow. The old saying, you can't teach an old dog new tricks, I think is baloney. It might be true for a dog, maybe, but as far as human beings go, no. No, there's one gentleman that I follow on YouTube who's started his YouTube channel at 80. He's 82 now and still going strong. So don't ever think that you're too old or it's too late in life to start over with something. And make some dreams come true, if that's possible. So keep growing, keep learning. I know I talk a lot about this on this channel, but that's really a big focus of mine here, to not let yourself necessarily get stagnant. So keep learning, keep growing. Look, if you like the content of this channel, please click the like button and hit the subscribe button and click the notification bell, so that way when my videos come up, you can catch them at any time. And I hope you enjoyed this, and we'll see you on the next one. Bye-bye.